Well, welcome back to We Need to Talk About This. I'm your host, Chuck Oliveris. It's been 2 weeks. The podcast has now moved to every 2 weeks instead of every week. And that's just because I think it'll make for a better podcast. I collect things as I live my life over the days and nights, and I see things. And if there are things I want to talk about, I'll bring them on. I do have some guests coming back to the podcast that I'm excited about. Sky Higgins, my buddy, is back in town. You may remember Sky. He did a podcast with me. He is a musician, a music lover, an all-around, rock-around, cool dude. And he left for a couple months. And he did this thing where he just went and traveled and then slept in his car and went all over the place. So I want to have him back. I ran into him recently and told him, you got to do a podcast while you're home. And I want to talk about his experiences because that's something I never did, but I know a lot of people who did. And I just kind of want to talk to him and see where he went, what he did, and what that experience was like. So he'll be back to talk to us about that before he leaves town again. Another guest I'm going to have back on, I'm very excited about. You may remember my friend Holly Gallo. She was on and we talked about a lot of different things about her law school. She's at the tail end of all that. I want to talk about that. And we're also going to discuss just some of the things that have been going on lately from a legal standpoint and how she feels about him, especially just starting her career as an attorney. So very smart girl. I'm always excited to have her on and talk to her about stuff. So I'm excited about that. So I'm looking forward to those two guests coming back. And I still need to do one with my bartender friends before I leave here. As you know, I will be moving from the Central Valley of California out to North Carolina, about an hour from Raleigh, maybe a little more, out to 43 acres in the woods, but I'm still going to do the podcast from there, and I'm sure that will bring some interesting subjects and a whole different kind of lifestyle going out to the south. We're looking forward to that, probably somewhere around October of this year. So some exciting news, maybe not exciting, but it was pretty freaking cool, was you may have seen on the news, and if you haven't and you have social media, I don't see how you missed it, but Ozzy Osbourne took his final bow after reuniting with the original lineup of Black Sabbath to play a farewell concert before a crowd of 40,000 people. He reunited with Black Sabbath there in, I believe it was Birmingham. And that's where it all started for them. So it was kind of cool because it was the last time Ozzy would ever perform with the band. And what's crazy is I'm showing a picture of him for those of you that are watching the YouTube channel. He sat on a chair the whole time. It was a big black throne with a big bat on it. He looks pretty damn good. And I just thought that was super, super cool. Last bow for Ozzy. And of course, I've told you before, I did guard him and his family a couple times back in the day. Here's a shot of me and him from Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard when it was still there, when Ozzy and Sharon and Kelly and Jack, and they all came. Ozzy did an in-store with us, which is a meet and greet kind of thing. And you can see I look considerably younger there. But that's me and Ozzy. So I cherish that picture and enjoy every minute that I actually got to hang out with them because, the Osbournes were just something else. So that was an experience that you just never forget, right? And the end of an era for Black Sabbath and for Ozzy. So that was pretty cool. He sat on the chair. He couldn't do much. The crowd went crazy. And he did an amazing job for his age and his condition. When I was with him, I was always afraid he was going to fall over someplace. But if you got him on stage, he just did his thing and you didn't have to worry about him. So God bless you, Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, the end of an era right there. And I love how they ended it where it all started. Oh, I have an interesting story I wanted to share with you guys. This is something that happened over the weekend, and I actually need to change for this. Hold on one second. And it was really important that I really just do this segment in my natural form. So this is an interesting story about Huntington Beach, and anybody who's ever been down to Huntington, man, knows that Huntington is where all the surfers are. It's like the coolest part of Southern California. There's a lot of money and stuff, man. And anyway, they did this competition down there, a surfing competition, but not like you're used to. Something totally different. I'm going to try and get through the segment. I did sneak into a little bit of this before the podcast, but it's a 28 count, man. That's pretty good. That'll get me pretty far. So they had this competition down there, and they let the dogs surf, man, and then they judged them and stuff. And I thought it'd be fun to share that story with you. So I'm going to show you it real quick. Here's some pictures. Here's some right here. You've got Jeffrey Neighbor, top right. That's the dude with the yellow on, and his buddy. And they watch as his Labrador Retriever, Charlie, takes off on a wave, man, while completing in the annual competition. And I just think that's so freaking cool. I mean, dogs on surfboards. Nothing better, right? Look at this dude here. I think her name was Kylie. She's a pretty good surfer. She did real well in the competition. But she was not the winner. I believe it was another one. Here's Petey. Petey is a West Highland Terrier, man, who takes off on a wave during the 28th annual Purina Pro Plan Incredible Dog Challenge. Isn't that wild, man, that dogs are surfing? And only in Huntington, man, because where else would they do anything like that? So they had this big competition, all these different dogs. Here's one catching a wave. The photographer here takes a shot of, what is it? Mary is the name, a Pembroke Welsh Corgi, as she barrels through a wave while completing in the Incredible Dog Challenge Western Surfing Competition down in Huntington, man. This is my favorite photo because, like, look at the little cork and that wave just around the surfboard. Dude, he's riding it. I mean, this dog knows what he's doing. I just love it, man. This one's kind of cool, too, because it kind of shows you that, you know, the dogs take care of their own surfboards. This is Charlie. He's a Labrador Retriever who's pulling his surfboard out of the water on his own. I mean, where else are you going to get something so cool that's ever been done like that than in Huntington, man? That's all I'm saying. I thought I'd share that with you because, you know, we know there's surfers everywhere and stuff, but you don't see the doggies doing it. So, right on, rock on, man. That was awesome. Just a little news out of Huntington for you, because some of you guys don't get down there. You're not beachy people like me. You got to be beachy. Yeah, them little dogs are pretty cool. Which reminds me of a story, man. So this last weekend, I went into the river up here at home with a couple friends of mine, and I was thinking about these dogs surfing and stuff. Well, they brought their pit bull. Their pit bull's name is Charlie. There's Charlie right there if you want to get a look at him. But Charlie had never swam, man, and they like tried to bring this pit bull into the river. The dog was scared, man. I mean, there's my friends right there, Taylor and Kay, and look at Charlie. He's freaking out. He's like, I don't know what this is. I've never been in water. Charlie definitely does not look like he wants to surf in that picture. It was pretty funny. Look at his face. He's freaking out. Good thing Taylor had the little tubes like the children use. But he did all right, man. So I just wanted to give props to Charlie because I thought about the dogs surfing and stuff, man. And I was like, wow, you know, that's pretty cool. So I'm kind of glad that they brought their dog down and we got to see if he could swim in the river. I got to turn it back over to the regular host because we got more stuff to do. Hold on 1 second. Don't go anywhere, man. Hey, remember Huntington next year, another dog competition. Be there. So how cool is that, right? Dog surfing. You can't beat that. Yeah. Reported live from Huntington Beach there for you. That's a great story. And it's so cool that they do that. And I would love to go down there and watch it. But I thought it'd be fun to share that with you because Huntington Beach is an old playground of ours. We used to go down there. My cousin DJ lived down there with his wife, Lisa, and we had some good times in Huntington. And I went down a couple times with some other friends from LA when we were down there. So that's pretty cool. A funny story I wanted to share with you guys because I saw this today and I was like, okay, check this out. How many times you go to a Chinese restaurant and you get your fortune cookie and nothing fantastic happens, right? You read it and you're like, this is stupid. Someday you will come into money or whatever. Okay, so this lady, a Kentucky woman, used the numbers from inside of her fortune cookie to play an online lottery game and scored a $50,000 prize. $50K using the numbers out of her fortune cookie. Dude, I always open the fortune cookies. It always says something stupid. And this woman uses those numbers. I have used them, by the way, to play lotto. And I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Because you're like, okay, it's just numbers. What the hell? Let's try it. But not like, forever. Once in a great while. Oh, yeah, maybe I should try these. But her story just, it kills me. Lexington resident Kathy Bailey tells Kentucky lottery officials that she copied the numbers off the back of the fortune cookie inside her daughter's cookie anyway, and used them to buy a Powerball ticket and place a $5 wager on the Golden Snake Triple Play game on Lottery's Insta Play page. She appropriately selected the game's fortune cookie bonus, which makes sense. So 2 different people have used their fortune cookie to score some dough. That's nuts. Let's see. What did she win? $5 wager. That one doesn't tell us, but the other gal got 50 grand. Let's look again. Yeah, $50,000. And that was on an online lottery game. Anyway, all I'm saying is I've been to a million Chinese restaurants. You have too. You crack that cookie open. What do you got? Nothing. I feel like when I was a kid and we used to go eat Chinese and stuff, that the fortunes said cooler things in them. Things that you almost believed would actually happen or be true. Am I wrong? Yeah. I don't know. These people are winning $50,000. I can't even win $2 on a scratch off from my local Shell station. So I don't understand what's going on there. And then in other news, I thought this was kind of funny. Actually not funny. I was thinking about, she's a 21-year-old girl. I'm showing her on the screen right now. She rose across the Atlantic Ocean, earning 3 world records. So this comes off of UPI. On June 1st, a 21-year-old British woman rowed 4,366 miles across the Atlantic Ocean, becoming the youngest person to ever do so. She earned 3 world records in the progress. My thought was, what's she going to do now? Right? After you do something like that, what you can do now? If I'd have done that, I'd be like, well, what am I going to do now? You can't top that, right? Probably something really stupid you dive from. Props to her, though, for doing that. 21 years old. Yeah, 4,366 miles across the Atlantic, and then gets 3 world records in the process. My thought was, when you get... when you break world records and stuff like that, do you get money, or is it just the recognition and you're in the book with 1,000 other people who have broken world records in different things? I'm not really sure how that works, but props to her. So I saw a funny little thing and I cracked up when I read it. And it talks about things we do while we're driving, human beings, right? We talked a little bit about human behavior in the last podcast, funny little things we do. But this specifically is when you're in the car. So let's start with the list here. Things I say while driving. So the top of the list, go then, dickhead. How many times have you done that, right? I love it. A second one, what is it? Could you go any slower? Fuck off, you prick. What the fuck are you looking at? Are you having a laugh? I've never said that one. That one would not be on my list. But these are funny, right? you could get a tank through here. I say that a lot. It's like, dude, you could have gotten off. We could have moved around you. Could have gotten a tank through there. I like this one. Well, fucking move then. That one you hear a lot, right? Or how about when they're going real slow or something, you go, I bet it's a woman. I bet it's a chick. And then you got to get next to them. I love doing that thing where they knew they did something stupid and they get up next to them and then they just look over and go. And you know they hate you. But I kind of hate them too because they do it. The next one on the list is hate Sunday drivers. And then the very last one, which is my favorite. For fuck's sake, go! God! How many times do people say that? Guy sitting at the light for 12 hours, looking at his phone or something. Supposedly, there's a new law in California that's supposed to take effect pretty soon, if it hasn't already. And it says that we're not even allowed to touch our phone anymore when you're driving. It's a touch phone law thing. So you can't even be touching it or you'll be in some major shit. So that should be interesting, right? And you know, you'll see a police officer on their phone. And I've challenged that before because I did a little volunteer work with my local police department years ago. And they said, well, they're trained drivers, so they can look at their phones or whatever. And I thought, ain't that just about right? Yeah, it's bullshit. Maybe we just need to get trained to touch our phones while we drive then, right? Maybe that can be a new class at the DMV. Now serving window 12B4. I hate that place. This is called We Need to Talk About This, and we definitely need to talk about this, you guys. I was checking this out yesterday and today. I'm sure most of you have heard if you watch the news anymore, which it's hard to believe any of it anyway. But so these floods in Texas, I was curious today. I looked it up. I'm like, what caused this huge flood? I don't know if you've seen the reels on it or anything like that, but it's pretty devastating. So I looked it up because I was curious, and it says the recent flooding in Texas was primarily caused by a combination of factors, including a stalled weather system, high levels of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and the terrain of the Texas Hill Country. Now, specifically, this is called an MCV, and what it stands for is a mesoscale convective vortex, MCV, a swirling weather feature which intensifies over the region, drawing in moisture from Tropical Storm Barry and the Gulf of Mexico. This moisture-laden system stalled over the Texas Hill Country, leading to repeated intense bursts of rain over the same areas. So the terrain, with its steep slopes and shallow soil, exacerbated the flooding as the land struggled to absorb the heavy rainfall. So I don't know how many of you have seen the reels and stuff, but this is bad stuff. I mean, Texas is in a world of shit. I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to share some stuff with you because I want people to be aware that this is how bad it is out there. It's one of those things that you see and you know, you feel lucky to be where you're at. So here's a picture I'm throwing up on YouTube right now. This is a drone view shot of the flooded houses following the torrential rains that unleashed flash floods along the Guadalupe River in San Angelo, Texas, July 4th, 2025. So, interestingly about this is it happened on the 4th of July, right? So, it's kind of crazy. It ruined everybody's obviously ruined their holiday there. But I want you to look at how deep this water is. And this is nothing. I encourage you to go up and search the reels on the Texas flood and kind of get a look at this and see what's happening. Because it's not good. It's really, really bad. Here's a shot right here. It's trees emerging from floodwaters along the river in Kerrville, Texas. There, heavy rainfall caused the flooding along the Guadalupe, as we know. So multiple fatalities reported in this. It's not like a little thing. I mean, when you watch the reels and the velocity and the power of the water, cars, trucks, It's super, super devastating. And by the way, I will point out that while this was happening, our president is playing golf in Florida or something. So that's interesting. More photos of the devastation caused by the flooding. National Weather Service says it's not over yet, as the system dumping rain over central Texas has slowed as it moves over the state. A Kerrville resident here in this picture watches the rising waters of the Guadalupe River on July 4th in Kerrville, Texas. The heavy rainfall causing so much damage. Multiple fatalities reported all over the place. I mean, it's a really huge body of water they're dealing with. And when you see some of these things and the people trying to hang on to their lives and all that crazy shit, it's pretty devastating. And worst of all, guys, so there's a camp there that had all these little kids there, I think. I'm going to show a picture of it. This is the inside of the camp that social media put up from Getty Images here. A view inside a cabin at Camp Mystic. That's the name of it. Camp Mystic, the site where at least 20 girls went missing after flash flooding in Hunt, Texas on July 5th. So the next day it hits here and then 20 girls come up missing. This is the inside of the cabin at Camp Mystic there in Texas. And it's horrible. I mean, just look at that floor. And not to mention, you got 20 girls missing. Nobody knows where the hell they are. It gets even worse. Wanted to show this and share this with you. This picture shows some major devastation here. The volunteer here in this picture is looking for missing people following the flash flooding that occurred on the 4th. This one's in Hunt, Texas. After it hit there, I think it hit there the 4th, the evening of the 4th, and then into the 5th. Rescuers in Texas race against time Sunday to find dozens of missing people. This includes children swept away by the flash floods that killed at least 59, as forecasters warned of new dulges. Local Texans joined forces with disaster officials to search through the night for missing people, including 27 girls from a Riverside Christian summer camp. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said Camp Mystic on the banks of Guadalupe River where some 750 girls had been staying when the floodwaters hit, had been horribly and horrendously ravaged in ways unlike he has ever seen in a natural disaster. So that's the one I just showed you, which is this one here. But that's two different camps there. So pretty bad stuff. And then you go down here, and here's a shot for those of you that can't see it. It's cars floating in the water and people waiting at waist level, trying to help others. What they're really doing is searching for people, because so many people, and this thing was so big that it never got, they never had a chance to react to it. And so these are vehicles sit submerged as search and rescue workers look through the debris for survivors or remains of people swept up in flash flooding. So then they date this one July 6th. That tells you that this went through a couple days here. So that all that anything near the Guadalupe River is just like, it's bad, dude. Multiple fatalities. Like I said, they're not even done trying to figure out what's left and what isn't. This is a pretty devastating picture. You can kind of see this guy along the river here. He is searching for people. And I've heard that the communities and people that live there that are still alive are wandering around assisting these search and rescue people, because there's so many people missing. They're like looking for them everywhere. So super important to do anything you can to help these guys out there in Texas. Here's another shot where the man searches the area. He's also looking for people. You can see those trees have fallen all over the place. So imagine if you're swept up in the water and whatnot, you're just kind of out there, and they may not see you that easily. So I have a feeling that for the next couple of days anyway, that death toll is going to go up quite a bit, and they're going to start finding more. Here's another man searching the area following the flash flooding. That's in Hunt, Texas. There you can see the car behind him laying on the tree that is blown over, and the car is upside down. Water is no joke. You know, we talk about, I live in an area where we have threats of fires and stuff all the time. But this stuff going on here is water, and water is powerful when it comes like that. All right, check this picture out here. I just threw something up. You can see part of the front end of a truck here, but you can also see nothing but water and just debris of every kind. So imagine trying to search for people in this. I want to show you this because when I was researching this, trying to find out what was going on out there, because it kept coming up on reels, and I'm like, man, where's this? And I'd heard Texas was having flooding, but this is unlike anything they've ever seen. But I found a picture that to me was the most eerily one to look at, and it's right here. So you look at that, there's nothing else there but water. So, and it's kind of dark, and obviously it's still raining again. Talk about hell, right? And then this pile of debris here. Now, this is in Hunt, Texas again on the 6th. Workers are digging through this stuff, looking for survivors or remains of people swept up. And imagine trying to dig through that. You see those guys there in just like piles and piles of debris and wood. I couldn't imagine doing a search and rescue and something like that. You know what I mean? Saw this picture of a lady on Instagram today and snapped it real quick to show you, just because it's like, damn, can you imagine? So look at how deep her car is in that water. And she's literally hanging out her driver's side window, hugging what looks to be like a light post or possibly a tree off to the right of the road. But she's floating. And that's just scary. And the latest on this whole thing is that Kerr County officials just gave an update from flooding in the news conference that started a little after 3:30 p.m. today. There are now 68 people confirmed dead, and that includes 28 children. So it's bad out there, and I know that some of you may have already seen that. I'm sure you heard about it, but seeing it and looking at that is crazy. So I also recommend pulling up some of the reels and things from the flooding out there, and you can kind of see how bad it is. You know, we're getting ready to take a trip cross country here, and we were either going to go through Texas or at least a little bit at some point. So, you know, I am very grateful that we're not doing it right now, because I have no idea what that trip would be like. Looking forward to the new guests coming on, or the old guests coming back to talk. I can't wait to see Holly and Skylar. We've got some new stuff planned for you. We're going to get Cousin Matto back on the podcast. And again, we're doing it every 2 weeks. So we will be back in 2 weeks. I hope everybody had a great 2 weeks and a great 4th of July. I actually enjoyed it with my family. It was a blast, and that felt good for once. So until next time, my name is Chuck Oliveris, and we always need to talk about this.